Do you have a hard time staying still? Feeling like you constantly need to be doing something, need to be going somewhere, from one thing to the next? Do you feel guilty when it's time to just sit down, take a break? Do you feel like you need to grab your phone just to be doing anything? Why is that? Welcome back to another episode of the Yardie Yogi Perspective, and I'm your host, Yardie Yogi. This is a space for healing, self-discovery, and personal growth. Embracing stillness. In today's episode, we'll be talking about embracing stillness and why it matters in this fast-paced world that we live in, and how we can bring in more stillness into our lives, because it's absolutely vital to the quality of life that we live. And then we'll go into a special tea time while we're sipping on some herbal tea. Stillness is an act of self-love. It's where you give yourself a chance to be centered, to release and remember. Think of yourself as like a tree, because we are a replica or a mirror of nature. So trees, there are times when they bear fruit, and there are other times when they wither and shed the leaves. So it's important to know when it's necessary for you to be bearing fruit or to be releasing. I want to share some words that I wrote when I think about stillness. Stillness will help you through some habits that you probably need to swat. Habits that are non-serving, detrimental, perhaps holding you back. When you can finally hear your inner voice without the external noise, it will make you want to rejoice, because you'll understand that you always have a choice. A choice to sit still, stand still, lay still, whatever your heart's will. Give yourself permission to not run yourself into the ground, driven by fear and external pressure to be somewhere. Slow down. It's literally not that serious. There's nowhere to rush to. Make no mistake. Plenty are out there determined it's a race, only to arrive somewhere and still feel out of place, empty. Listen to me. Stillness is not your enemy. It is one thing that will make you quite wealthy. For you be able to understand where you stand, so no matter what's going on around you in the external, you can find grounding and confirmation internally. Not sinking in quicksand. Stand still, sit still, whatever your heart's will. Give yourself one thing no one else can: a calm and composed nervous system. A calm and regulated nervous system. Your greatest wealth, as it contributes to so much of our health as a whole. Stillness is your superpower. Are you ready to claim it? So why are we so uncomfortable staying still? I get that we live in a society where it is normalized for us to constantly be on the grind, constantly producing, constantly be busy. Nowadays, it's like if you're not busy, then you're not doing anything. We are conditioned to think that even if what we're doing is out of alignment with who we are, we're conditioned that as long as you're doing something, as long as you appear to seem busy, then it's somehow worth it. That can be a trick, that can be a trap that we get ourselves into. I've been there, guilty of it, doing things just to appear busy, feeling guilty because I'm not as busy as my friends or not as busy as other people around me. But But I'm releasing that guilt. I don't feel half as bad anymore. When we think about sitting still, we get uncomfortable. It can be quite uncomfortable. So how do we work through that? And why are we uncomfortable when we think about just being still? I took a pause from this podcast because I started it last in November, and during the winter it's hard for me. I feel like being from Jamaica where it's warm and sunny, it's hard for me being here in the States where it gets cold and it's dark outside, and just both those things, it just throws me off. And so when I started this podcast, I made a commitment to myself that I'm going to be consistent. Every week I'm going to put out an episode, and I am someone that I respect myself, and I want to make sure that I show up and keep my word to myself. That is very important. Integrity is my greatest value, right? And so when I realized that, it started to feel daunting, the idea of doing this work. It should be something fun, where I'm just showing up and sharing my voice without any attachment to the outcomes. And of course, I'm human. I'm looking around, comparing myself to other people. Oh, there are so many podcasts out there already. There are so many people doing things that are much better than you. They have better equipment, better skills. They have co-hosts. They have all these things. Why do you don't need to do this, right? I realized that instead of needing or feeling the need to push myself to prove something, I know that I needed to take the time to be still, to be quiet in that season, quite literally, because winter is coming to an end now. So I'm looking forward to springtime and just being in tune with my internal rhythm and know what I needed to do. And so I paused for almost 3 months, and I took that time to reflect and to make sure that this is what I want to do, to find clarity and make sure that I'm not just trying to show up in a way that's not authentically me. So my message have to be clear, the mission have to be clear. If you think about it in like project management terms, what is out of scope? I need to be clear on where my boundaries are, because I'm not trying to invite any and everything into this space. It's very intentional. Like I said, it's about healing, it's about self-discovery, it's about growth. For someone that's always been very quiet, soft-spoken, I've received a lot of shit. You can put it that way, quite literally. I've received a lot from people who just think that perhaps I need to be louder, I need to be more extroverted and to the front, and that didn't resonate with my personality. And for a long time I internalized that as, there is something wrong with me. Why can't I just be more social? Why can't I be more loud and verbose? But it's not that I can't speak. Like, people will literally look at me and say, oh, I didn't think you could talk. Makes no sense. Makes absolutely no sense. And so a part of my healing journey is healing my throat chakra, using my voice, because I do have a message, I do have things that I want to talk about, and I'm not gonna get caught up in all the things that really don't move me. It really don't stimulate the kind of conversations that I would like to be engaged in. And so for me, being calm and having that composure was always a strength. And I think it triggered a lot of people because they aren't able to embody the same thing within themselves. A huge part of why we struggle with staying still is because it forces you to be with yourself. And a lot of people cannot sit with themselves. They cannot bear to hear themselves, to feel themselves, to know themselves truly. And so distraction is easier than dealing with yourself. How can we normalize being still without the shame? I think it's important to be able to take time to sit with yourself so that you can be clear on who you are and not feel ashamed about it. Don't be so easily moved by what other people are doing, how quickly they're moving. Everybody has their own pace. So be still without trying to blame an activity, to blame a responsibility for why you can't sit still. It's important to set yourself straight. Sit with yourself out of curiosity and compassion. When I'm sitting still, I'm just here to be present with myself, to observe what comes up, to observe how I feel. And if I feel the need to grab my phone, or if I do grab my phone, I'm looking at it because I started to get uncomfortable. Bring myself back and realize that, oh, I grabbed my phone because I just couldn't sit with myself. Perhaps take it 5 minutes at a time, 10 minutes at a time. When you're walking, try not to listen to any music. Just go for a walk and just be. When you're driving, turn off the radio. Don't listen to any music, any podcasts. When you wake up in the morning, just lay there or sit in quiet. Don't just wake up and get up and start rushing. Just sit. Observe how you feel. Observe where you are. Stillness, it can be a very spiritual and scientific thing. Scientifically, when we're able to be still and at ease, it releases stress because you're not constantly on the move. So it reduces stress from your mind and your body. Spiritually, when you're able to do that internal work, it brings clarity. It enhances creativity. So I would ask you to ask yourself, what is your state of being? My state of being is I like to move slow. I can be fast, but I like to move slow, especially when I'm starting my days. I do not like to wake up and feel like I have to rush to be somewhere. So I can slowly get out of bed, sit, have a morning routine. I might stretch a little bit, meditate, write in my gratitude journal. I like to stare outside, look at the trees through the windows, and just breathe. I have my cat, so I'm there and I cuddle with her, I play with her. And then I take a shower. And then I lotion my body. Just slow, just moving slow. And then I move into my day. So I think it's very important for us to give ourselves moments of stillness throughout our days, moments of stillness throughout our months, throughout our seasons. How would you bring more stillness into your life then? Simple. You could sit, breathe, listen to a guided meditation. If you like to write, like me, have a journal. And just sit with yourself. If it's one page, just write what's on your mind. Write what's there so you can release it on the paper. I would also encourage mindful movement. Doing gentle yoga, just breathing and moving your body. Going for a walk. Just trying to be present with your mind and your body without all the external noises, because the external world is going to be there. The noise is always going to be there. So your ability to tune that out so that you can hear yourself. This is where stillness comes in as a spiritual tool. When you can be still, this is when you will hear your soul speak to you. This is how you connect with a higher power, whatever that means to you. Listen to your inner voice, your inner compass. It will always guide you. So whenever people are like, I don't know what to do, whenever you don't know what to do or where you should be going, just be still. Practice more stillness and quietness, and the answers will come to you. You will get ideas because we all have a brain, we all have that source within us that's quite intelligent. And if you learn to listen to it without the TV and society and your mother and your grandmother and everybody talking, letting their ideas, their requirements of you to dictate who you are, it's important to be able to quiet that so that you can find your compass. You can align with what feels right for you. So I like to think of it as be so you can become. Just be so you can become whatever you need, whatever you want. So set boundaries in your life for quiet time. If it's letting people around you know that, listen, don't call me before 7 a.m. in the morning unless it's a complete emergency. Don't knock on my room until I come out in the mornings, unless, it's way late. Set boundaries. After you come home from work, I need 2 hours. I need an hour by myself. Nobody needs to come disturb me. So you need to incorporate these moments within your life. Because sure, busyness won't go away. You have responsibilities, you have goals. We're living, but balance is very important. So let me pour myself some herbal tea. I love my tea. Today I'm drinking dark blood. I don't know what the scientific name for it is, but I know it's great for the female reproductive system, and this was well crafted from the land in Jamaica. So yes, so I invite you to sit straight with your spine elongated. I'm gonna repeat some affirmations to you. I give myself permission to pause and be present without judgment. Stillness nourishes my mind, my body, and my spirit. In stillness, I hear my inner wisdom, my true self. Feel free to repeat these affirmations to yourself. Feel free to journal about them. So yes, stillness can be quite uncomfortable because we feel guilty, we feel shame, or perhaps afraid of facing ourselves. Notice why that is the case. And be gentle with yourself, be compassionate with yourself, be curious. Prioritize moments of stillness in your life. It is surely the answers to a lot of the things that we have anxiety about, we are confused, we lack direction. Just being still, calming your nervous system, it brings clarity. It increases your creativity. Because we all have ideas, we all have bright ideas. Sometimes you just need to quiet the noise so that you can hear yourself, so that you can hear the Most High speaking to you. If you enjoy the podcast, please feel free to like, share, leave a comment. Let me know if you would like to hear more. And so for our closing, I'm gonna read just a few more words that I wrote about stillness. Settle yourself. In stillness, you find your strength, your inner wealth. Sure, it's okay to think of the hands you've been dealt. When you journey to self, you give yourself the chance of letting go what no longer serves your highest good. Trust that the Most High wants the best for you, but you've got to be willing to listen. Listen in silence. It's the only way. Go within. Everything that you need is already instilled within you. Believe. You came to this earthly plane equipped with everything you need. The Creator loves us enough. The only test is to remember ourselves. Trust. You don't know, we're finding our flow. Until next time, stay restful, stay resilient.